God, every week. Every week. And can I do this?
Uh,
It sounds like a dud,
so
huh?
weak. That's so weak.
It sounds like a dud. I don't have my bell. I don't have my dinger. That's the best one we have, Greg. You win the dinger of the week. we should make a. Nah, that wasn't good. We should make a little trophy. Let's see who does the best.
Who gets the dinger of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have
Why
my
do I have
bell.
a feeling this is like a setup, and I'm just going to be the dinger of the week no matter?
No, really,
what?
we have every.
Did
week
Josh
we have
tell
a-
you to do this?
No, you would think. We do have a dinger of the week to talk about in a second, but we'll get
Yes,
there.
we do.
Uh-oh.
A little dinger.
Yeah, a little dinger. Guys, welcome to Anchor Watch, our weekly late night below deck chat where Josh, myself, and Greg, which I'm so glad to have you back,
It's
take
good to be
over
here.
Up and Adam's channel to talk about the highest rated show on Bravo, Below Deck, of course. Now, we just finished our Below Deck Down Under season 2, which has led us into this fruitful and amazing Below Deck Mediterranean premiere. But I gotta ask you a quick question. I love this. I love all these crossovers that we're having. We have Luca coming
Yep.
over from Below Deck Down Under, and they kind of carried that storyline over. Like, you know, you were recommended by Captain Jason. We're so lucky to have you. And mark my words, guys, because I've been right about a lot. You will see a lot more crossovers coming up in future seasons.
So here's actually, I have some breaking news. So what they're doing with Below Deck is very similar to what they did with the Marvel movies. And it's actually going to culminate in a huge battle against the ocean.
Where did you find that out?
I can't tell you guys.
Oh, okay.
I have some very deep sources. And yeah, this is going to be huge.
How deep do those sources run? Because I'm not sure you're right about this.
Look, some guy tweeted at me and I trust him. Okay.
And you trust it. Yeah. Did you get it on Reddit? It's not called tweet anymore.
what's it
So
called
maybe,
now?
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
I got
out of
X'd.
touch. You got X'd?
You got X'd. You
Yeah,
got
X'd
X'd
in the
about some
back alley.
information on
I
Below Deck.
I got X'd in the alley.
Jesus. All right. Guys, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We always talk about our like Below Deck chatter that's been happening, right? When we first start. And, you know, we've told you already, we're on Below Deck Season 8. We've told you already what's happening on Below Deck Season 9, who our Chief Stew is and what's going on there. I see now that we've started Below Deck Season 8, actually, let me bring these photos back up. So now that we've started Below Deck Season 8, you can see who's on the cast and who's there, right? So let's fast forward to Below Deck Season 9, okay? Because this has been, these were shots that were shot by someone who was over in Greece, where they're going to be in Season 9. No familiar faces here, from what I can tell. Aisha, of course, is going to be our Chief Stew next season of Below Deck Med, which is great. But yeah, these guys, I don't reckon. I'm glad Sandy's still there, an engaged Sandy now. She is engaged to her girlfriend Leah, which is amazing. But I'm not seeing any familiar faces. Oh yeah. I mean, they're there all the time. That's indifferent. Yeah. But some of the biggest news,
same camera guys.
I think it's the same. Yeah, they might be the same. I think what's kind of crazy right now is BravoCon is coming up next in exactly 36 days, because I just did a post today that
who's counting?
We are leaving in 36 days. I'm counting, and I'm super excited. And last year we went to a Below Deck party, and I got to meet a lot of the Below Deck people. Thanks to Kyle for inviting me. And
I
it was
think
a lot
of the
fun.
Below Deck people got to meet you.
Maybe this year, but not last year.
Okay.
Not last year. I mean, I didn't know who some of them were. I'm like, were you on the show? And they're like, yeah, my name is Z. And I was like, oh, or my name is Courtney. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you now. No, I'm just kidding. So there's been a lot of things coming out. There's this whole reality reckoning that Bethany Frankel is kind of championing right now, if you even can say championing it. I don't know what's happening. There's a lot of allegations and stuff, a lot of things coming to light, and especially after what we saw last season on Below Deck Down Under Season 2, with a sexual assault that happened. There was an allegation brought up with Gary from Below Deck Sailing by a member of production from quite some time ago. Gary was announced today that he is uninvited to BravoCon, and I don't think we will see Gary on Below Deck anymore.
So it makes me wonder, because we know how early they film these seasons. Is there a season with Gary in the can out there that now won't be used? It's possible. And now they may not have filmed yet, but
Interesting.
it's possible there's a whole season that they're.
You know, that was my first thought when I heard this news, because I was thinking, like, because they do film so far out. Like, we saw that Below Deck Sailing was filmed almost a year before it was released. So that would be like now. So I don't know if there was any decision made, or if we're going to see that on the show, or I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. But I think it was a long time coming. A lot of people were commenting that even on Project Runway, when they did a Below Deck special, like, Gary was just acting kind of like Gary, and kind of weird and creepy, and it was strange and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Gary.
Well, Gary, I think it's a good thing you're not at BravoCon, because with the allegations that came out, I don't think it would be good for him to be walking around. You know what I mean? Or a part of panels or anything like that. Yeah. All right, guys, I want to get we're back on Below Deck Med. We're in the Italian Riviera. What do you think after this first episode? Because we are missing 2 key players, 2 prominent figures, 2 familiar faces. We're missing them going into this premiere. Kind of like actually Below Deck Sailing last season, when Gary couldn't get there on time, and you had like this whole crew forming this camaraderie. And then now, you know, we're missing, of course, our chief stew Toomey, who is on her way, and then of course one of our stews, Kyle. I don't know where he's going to sit in the stew tier here, but
I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, maybe he could take on Bosun or something.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's so confusing now with what's going on. I mean, let's start with our bosun. So we had a guy on board. We were starting things. He's experienced. We think,
or so they say.
To meet him,
so they say.
This is our first impression of him.
Has this been the fastest or the quickest departure? And it's not a firing. Yeah, departure. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, fastest
that we've ever seen on Below Deck.
Yeah, I mean, he was there.
We usually get 1 or 2 firings a year or a season, but now we got
he didn't even sleep on the boat. You know, he didn't even get to sleep, right? Like
take a nap.
No, he didn't even take a nap. So yeah, basically Captain Sandy, the Doc Private Eyes or whatever, contact her and go, hey,
agent, I like it.
Yeah, there's someone on your boat. We think there's a spy. And so they go, oh, who do you think it is? And then they show his number and stuff on his ID, but it's a completely different person. And he says
strange.
I mean, a mix up, and
I'll be right away with that.
Yeah, I mean, in this day, I was talking to my wife about that. We were watching the show, and I was like, in this day and age, when information is transferred instantaneously, who is still trying to do? It's not like in the old days where you could like literally get an old ID, put your picture in, and laminate it,
or it didn't even have a picture. It was just like a name.
I mean, like, I have to admit that sometimes, you know, if Adam forgets his Costco ID or I forget mine, we'll use each other's. But that's very different here, right? Like,
I cannot believe you're doing that. As a card holding
and
member.
Now Costco, they're really coming down hard on people who are trying to.
If they find out,
we'll be eliminated.
No
we'll
$5 for you.
Yeah,
no $5.
That's an exclusive membership that might get pulled.
Absolutely. I don't know. I find this kind of crazy. You know, I think a question that we were all asking before is like, was production aware of this? Because don't they vet these people? Don't they do this before? I think, Greg, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. And like, I've never, granted, I've only seen like 5 seasons since I started watching because of you two, but the MCA guy gets on and I'm like, is this part of the show? Like, I don't remember ever seeing an officer walking on and inspecting their papers. So, I mean, they obviously chose to air that to show the process, but that kind of immediately caught me off guard. I don't know if
Well, and
others-
I think maybe we saw that because it probably happens every time, but it's
We
so
just don't,
boring.
yeah.
It's not worth showing.
it's like them putting gas in the tank. They're
Yeah,
I
like,
think
they were like,
too-
this is a story element. We're gonna.
yeah,
a lot of
for
these,
sure.
and this is something we'll have to ask Sean when he comes on. We're being joined by Captain Sean later tonight from Monaco at
Oh,
the
perfect.
Monaco boat show with all the super yachts, and he has a lot of answers, I'm sure, to all of our lingering questions. But yeah, I'm really curious about this. I think because this marina, this port is such a big commercial zone and there's so much traffic, they are a little more adamant about like these things as opposed to like Below Deck Down Under, which we just saw season 2 when they were in a smaller place where they can just like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if the dock
Mhm.
master is as
I'm guessing
Stern.
It's very
they
commercial
are-
here.
I'm guessing they are. It's an element we don't normally see. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They also have to empty the toilets, but we don't see that too. You know what I mean?
I wish. Is that on? No, it's not going there.
The
Not going
lower
there.
deck.
the lower deck.
The lowest. That's
You know
where
what's surprising too
where you take
is
girls in a blanket.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think I don't know. It's interesting. This is also the second season of Below Deck that we're seeing a commercial vessel kind of redone as a yacht. You know, the yacht, the Mustique that they're on now, the motor yacht Mustique was a commercial vessel, and it's a bit heavier and stuff before. So it's now a new challenge to Captain Sandy. I feel like she's thrown new challenges every season. Like she has the Sirocco, which seemed to be a great ship with a crazy crew, and then you get Motor Yacht Home, which everything was just unbalanced all the time, and even though it was a brand new modern yacht, things were screwing up all the time. And now you
yeah.
have this like older commercial vessel, kind of like we just saw in Below Deck Down Under 2 at the Motor Yacht Northern Sun. But I think this is going to be a good season. If you guys had to kind of guess, how would we compare what we just saw on Below Deck Down Under to Below Deck Med? Do you think this is going to be a little more dramatic? Do you think this is going to be a little more Bravo produced, like, you know, have that Bravo kind of
Finesse.
essence? Yes, the
Yeah.
Bravo finesse,
Stink on it.
the stank, the Bravo stank. Do you think we're going to get that this season?
I feel like last season had a lot of good dynamics. So I'm curious. Like I'm trying to piece those together, and I'm
Last season had a lot of casting magic.
Yes.
We've yet to see, you know, what this cast has in store. I will say, you know, this is also, don't forget, this is my first captain. This is who, when you turned me on to the show, Jason, Captain Sandy
Sandy was your first captain.
Yeah. So
Never
to
forget.
me, you know, a lot of people, Captain Lee was their first captain. Yeah, you never forget your first captain.
I think you know what? I think, Greg, that yours was Glenn, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't you join us on sailing?
Well, no, mine was Captain Sean
Yes.
Oh.
Captain Sean.
into Captain Lee. I shouldn't say it that way.
So wait,
Transition.
Captain Sean guided you into Captain Lee? Is it?
Yes.
Very interesting.
yes.
It's a different
And let's
tale.
not even correct that wording. Let's just go with it.
Let's just do that. That sounds great. All right,
That
so
was my
we have some returning cast members, and one cast member has been getting a lot of flack, but one who hasn't is Natalia, who last year was kind of our
Gotta love those crazy eyes.
the crazy eyes.
No, I love her, but she looks like a lunatic in this photo.
I don't know. Have you seen her Instagram? It's amazing. Like, she has great photos. And in fact, she was just on Watch What Happens Live last night. She looked amazing. Yeah, go
Josh.
quickly.
Get there.
Scrolling through her Instagram right now. Natalia is back. And to be honest, I didn't expect her to be back. I mean, I also didn't expect our chief stew from last year to be back. Who was that? What was her name? Why am I blanking?
It was
One who
Natalie. No.
Yes.
Toomey.
Or Natalia. Who?
Toomey.
No. Our
Aisha.
chief stew from last season.
It was
of Below Deck
Natalie and
Med.
Natalia.
The one who was with Chef Dave. The storyline that got so forgettable. This is why I'm forgetting her name.
Yeah.
And I hear her. I see her.
Her twin.
Yeah, her twin.
I
Someone
can't
in the
even
live
think of her
chat.
name.
Oh,
Please.
Natalie.
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 Is it
Didn't I say
Natalie?
that?
Natasha. Thank you.
Natasha.
My
No,
God.
Natalia,
That's
Natasha.
embarrassing.
I
We're
was
sitting here
close.
talking about Below Deck. We don't even know the cast.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Natasha. That's how forgettable she was, unfortunately.
Samsonite.
Samsonite. But Natalia comes in, and then we have our literally the two cast members I think that most people are excited to see again, which are Toomey, because she's coming in from Below Deck Down Under. It's her first time being a chief stew. And she's coming into this position, but she can't get her visa yet, or there's some visa delays with her and Kyle, who also shared the title of, I guess, second stew, because there was two of them last year. There was Natalia. So Natasha was the chief stew. Then you had Natalia and Kyle, who shared second stew. No one was the third stew because no one wanted to be called the third stew. But
or the
on
temporary
this boat,
stew.
Or the temporary stew. That's embarrassing, even for this girl. But this year you have 4 on the interior. So you have 4 people. So you're going to have a chief stew, which is going to be Toomey. Obviously, I'm guessing that the second stew will go to Natalia because now she's already taken the position of chief stew in this first charter. And then who's going to be... Are we going to call the rest the third stew? Is Kyle going to allow himself to be called a third stew? And is Jessica going to be happy with that? Jessica's our new stew, which...
how about we change it?
She does not want to share. She wants to share the workload because they're sharing the tip.
What about stew major and stew minor?
Stew major focus, stew minor...
Stew in waiting?
Stew in waiting.
Prime stew.
Prime stew. Ooh, stewest. Prime stew. I like prime stew for some reason.
One could be the stewest and one could be the stewer. And then one is just the stew.
Stewed.
That's the
You've
guy.
been
Yeah,
stewed.
that's Kyle.
Hey, if anyone hasn't checked out Natalia's Instagram post,
Oh, that's why we lost you.
Quite a few. Yeah.
There are
15 minutes.
quite a few Below Deck cast members who have Instagrams that are very reminiscent of what someone would picture OnlyFans to be like. Some Below Deck cast members, former and current, have OnlyFans, which is interesting. I don't think they're using it to build a community though. Okay, so let's jump into the most other important person on the boat, which is Chef Jack. Can we get thoughts, please? How are we comparing Chef Jack here? Do we know him enough to compare him to like a Chef Rachel or a Chef Ben?
You know what I really like about him? He's like a workhorse. Like, he doesn't really say much and he just churns out large quantities of really good looking food. Like, I don't know, some people kind of moan about their job and gripe and it makes it sound like they're doing more than they are. And he's the kind where I almost think he's so quiet and just good at his job and doesn't make a big deal that like he could do amazing work. And by his own, like not selling himself as much, he may get overlooked sometimes. Like he just strikes me as that kind of person. Like
Amy called it out. I love the Harry Potter comment he made too.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Amy said, Chef Jack comparing himself to Harry Potter and Hogwarts made my 13-year-old self so happy. Yeah. I mean, listen, he does say that he was shy and he is shy until he gets comfortable in a situation. And I'm just so curious to see how this escalates this season and what we see from the chef, because we know that sometimes.
Well, and that's something we really liked about last
emotional.
Season. Well, we liked last season where Serena wasn't so isolated from the cast as many chefs often end up being. Like, she very, very much felt like one of the cast. She was in the mix. She was always socializing. She was part of the crew. They were socializing with her. There was no wall kind of. Whereas I think just sometimes the nature of the job of being like in the kitchen alone, working on these meals all day, some of them don't tend to connect as much with the rest of the crew.
They're in go mode.
Yeah, they're in go. And I don't blame them. I think it's just kind of the nature of the job. But I don't know. He strikes me as the type who it almost seems so simple or effortless at this point for him to cook that maybe
Mhm.
he will have the time to also connect with the crew the way Serena did.
That's true. You know what's so interesting though is I didn't get a sense that he was as grounded and as able to do his job when we first met him. I thought he was going to be like a mess.
Like,
Like
off
I
the
thought this
bat.
is good
Mhm.
right off the bat. He's going to be a mess. He's going to be crazy.
He's
It's
like, I'm
gonna
gonna hang in the galley while all the stuff is coming in. There's just tons of stuff
right.
being
And
poured on him.
he just
Yeah.
literally like, dove in. I really enjoy Jack so far. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Someone commented really quick. I just want to go to that.
Hit that like.
Well, first of all, guys, hit that like button.
Kendra.
Helps us out a lot. It helps us out a like. Hit that like
A
button.
like is a lot.
187 in the room. Someone said that they're just one of the stews is only temporary until Toomey gets there. Now there are going to be 4 interiors. So we have a chief stew, a second, a third, and another stew. There's going to be 4 total. So right now we have Natalia, we have
Haley.
Jessica, and then we have the temporary Brooke, whose I guess father founded Sprouts, which was very interesting, right? Because if
That
you're
was
from
cool.
California, especially.
Yeah, I love Sprouts. Sprouts was
Yeah.
amazing. I wish they were up where we are in Oregon. I love Sprouts. Like
Seriously.
one of their things was they were known for is they always had like top produce. So their produce sections were always amazing. But yeah, that's Natalie and I both looked at it because we love Sprouts, and we looked at each other like, did she just say her dad founded Sprouts?
I think you guys turned me on to Sprouts when we lived in LA.
I think we
How
did.
funny.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, so there's going to be 4 interiors. So Brooke will end up leaving. And then from previews, we've seen Jessica is still there. And of course, Natalia and Kyle and Toomey will be there. And then on the exterior, we still need 4. So now that we've lost Ruan, who ruined himself by faking his documents.
How did I miss that?
Allegedly. Then I don't know what's going to happen here. There's going to be 4 on the exterior, but what's interesting to me is we have.
That's right. I brought up
Luca.
Haley earlier, but Haley's one of the deckhands.
Yes, and for the first time, it's like
More women
taking the yacht off the dock for the first time. We have Luca, who stepped up as bosun because of Ruan's issues, and then we have 2 female deckhands, which is remarkable. I'm curious to see who is going to come in to replace Ruan as bosun, but be interesting if it's a girl.
I don't think it'll be Gary.
It's not going to be Gary. You know, he has put his sails down. I think. Not sure, but I think.
One
all right, guys.
Horrible moment can just throw away a whole career. It sucks.
Do you think it's possible to? So every season we get a below deck. We always hear these stories of people's backgrounds. Like Brooke's story was interesting. She's like, yeah, my dad, he was like a captain, but he founded Sprouts. And it's like, whoa, back up, right? But then we hear everyone else's stories, and it's always like, oh man, I was a troubled kid from South Africa, from the wrong side of town, or whatever. It's always these crazy stories, right? Which is very familiar, Josh, in the circus. We hear these stories of people's backgrounds, and then they join the circus.
Which is weird because you would think just totally normally adjusted people would flock to the circus, but
right?
It's borderline grifters,
which is the same in yachting, apparently.
Yeah,
what the hell is happening here? There's no one who's
traveling out of a town. I think a boat or a circus train or whatever.
Well, even Captain Sandy was like, I got into some drugs, had a hard time, loved the water, then I became captain, and it's like. Okay. Does anyone come out of high school and it's like, I really love boats and I love yachting and I just want to be a yachty? It doesn't seem like that's the typical story.
Well, but has the show changed that? Do you think that maybe people are now interested as a result? I know I am.
If they are, I think it's because they
absolutely.
want to be famous, just like everything else these days. If
that's true.
To be famous.
And then they go actually have to work on some boats. They're not on TV and they're like, this is hard work. What am I doing here?
It's just the opposite from, I've been kind of exposed to a lot of the yachting industry through Captain Sean. I've been in a couple of many boat shows with him actually, and met a lot of people from the industry. And it's the exact opposite. It's like you meet those people who are not the TV below deck yachties. They're the real yachties, and they take their jobs very seriously. And they have.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
I'm saying that if you have
not saying that they're not on the show, just
I'm just saying if you see a high school graduate see the show and is like, oh, I want all this fame and fortune, and this looks like so much fun and whatever, it's real work. Like there's a lot of people on that boat working for a reason because there's a lot to do. So that
Deanna,
yeah, I'm not discrediting them at all.
Deanna,
you're banned from the show. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't think anyone is
That's a
requesting.
funny comment. Maybe they'll bring
Megan.
Megan back.
Yeah, that's
Very
funny.
funny. Very
That's
funny.
I mean, maybe she has her papers though. Who knows?
No
That's
knowledge,
true.
all papers.
Oh, she can't even make a schedule. Remember, she couldn't even make a schedule.
Ugh.
You can do a lot of things.
Moving on. from that.
Moving
Win me over.
on. All right, so we have some guests.
That was my moving on sound.
It's always why is it always with the drinks, guys? You guys have some.
Sorry.
Drinking out of my anchor watch.
Hey, at
Somewhere?
least you're getting some good juice out of your cup, so that's good.
Sure. I brought it up last time. We have to give one of these cups away somehow. I don't know how you figure that out, but
I
we
know.
should have
Let's
a
figure out
contest.
something. Yeah. Okay, guys. So if you aren't familiar, I'm gonna take a little ad break here. So we have lots of great Anchor Watch merch available.
Yeah.
If you guys want to support us, this is one way of doing it. And yeah, we have.
Wait,
some
I want
great
a
shirts
way
and
where
hats.
where someone who's in our the
Naughty Yachties.
the naughty
No.
yachty community.
no, the crew what do we call the crew that watches after we go live? Replay crew.
Replay.
The replay crew,
Which anyone
yeah.
could be.
So
Anyone could go back and
think it needs
comment.
we need to do okay. We'll think of a contest and we will tell you the contest next week. I don't want to do it here on the spot
Absolutely.
because it'll be crappy. We'll think of a good one and then we will have you all battle it out.
Yes.
Yes, we'll think of a good one. I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
Royale.
Yeah. No, Ginger, Adam is not here. Adam is in bed, actually. He's in bed every week when we do this show. We just take
he
over his
does
channel
not
to talk
know.
about Below Deck because
Yeah, don't tell him.
Yeah,
Don't-
he doesn't
yeah.
know. He wakes
even
up
know
in
we
the
do
morning and
this.
he goes, "Oh, again."
he's like, how did these guys get thousands of views from being dummies? All right, so what do we think about the other crew that we have? We have Jack, we have Jessica, who is here. We have Luca that we've seen from Below Deck, but we haven't touched on Lara or Haley, who are our deckhands. But what are our thoughts on these two ladies? I mean,
I think
Haley
they're pretty
is
badass.
coming in a bit strange to me. I don't know why. You know, she talks about her upbringing of that her dad really wanted a boy, and then she was the girl who took on all the boy things, and she's burping in her confessionals, and she seems to be a lot of fun,
Yeah.
honestly.
think they
But
get
I
stuff done.
don't. I think they're making her right now look kind of like
One of the guys.
one of the guys, but not necessarily like gonna do a great job. But I think she'll do great.
I think
Thoughts?
I mean, I feel like there was so much drama going on with having to fill spots. I felt like it kind of did us like a little bit of a disservice where we didn't actually get to know this crew really. You know what I'm saying? Like normally we have a little bit more time to spend getting to know the crew.
But to their credit, like they rocked it. Keep going.
They did great, but my point is I left that episode going, I don't really know any of the new people yet. Like we spent so much time focused on these other things. I don't know. Am I crazy?
No, I
No,
totally agree.
yeah.
We really don't know, and we don't have the full crew here yet to make that assessment. Like we don't have probably the two most vital people we'll see this season, which I think Toomey will kind of give Natalia a run. This is what I'm guessing. I'm just guessing. I think she'll give her a run for her money because Natalia, who has started to lead the charter, to lead as a chief stew, is now going to be overpowered by Toomey, and it's Toomey's first time being a chief stew. So I think we're going to see a power struggle, and then a lot of people. Kyle is a friend of Adam and I, so I don't want to say anything, but a lot of people are not very happy Kyle is back this season.
What?
but Kyle brings drama, and
he's
he's
fun.
capable at his job, and he also brings drama. And the best reality TV personas and personalities, in my opinion, are the ones that
Polarizing.
yes, you either like them or you don't. Kind of like Captain Sandy.
Yeah, look here. I love Captain Sandy, but when I found out that she had extra skin added to her eye, I don't trust her as much.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So Captain Sandy,
And then
you're
the
watching.
doctor
I
shows
love
up.
you. No, I'm kidding. No, wasn't that fascinating to hear about though? I'm being like serious. That was amazing to hear about. She had been in an accident. For those of you guys who missed this, but why are you watching? No, if you missed it, she was in an accident. She's talked about this, I think, from drunk driving. If I think,
yeah.
Oh.
So she was in a really bad accident. Her face was damaged, and there was like damage to her eye where her eye was like reconstructed, but her eyelid, when you blink, that eye didn't close all the way. And so it was like super dangerous. I mean, your eye's drying out, right? That's why we keep blinking. So this doctor, who's the guest, the primary on this charter, did an amazing surgery where she said he took some skin from her eye over here and added it here so it would close. Incredible. I mean, we look at her and you couldn't even tell that she had that kind of like surgery done. So this guy's like amazing at it. You know what I mean? But like, what a surgery. Like,
I know that Captain Sandy is like pretty polarizing still, even though like, Josh, I felt like we went on a campaign last season of Below Deck Meta. It's like, let's do a reset on Captain Sandy, because I think that a lot of things have been overlooked, like her popularity or what she has done in the industry, especially being, you know, a member of the LGBTQIA plus community, being a female captain in this industry. There are not many who hold her, you know, awards, you know? So it's interesting to watch her, but at the same time, she has been so open about her past, about her drug abuse, about alcoholism, and where she is today. She's the perfect example of overcoming those obstacles to me. And I think that's amazing. And then a lot of people down here in South Florida, where I live, she's very well known in the boating world. Like, people respect her. She does a lot of talks down here, but at the same time, this is the first season. I know they always talk a little bit about yachting or a little bit about what's going on, but I almost feel like Captain Sandy is taking a page out of Captain Sean's book from Anchor Watch and giving us a lot of great information about yachting as we're watching it. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and then talking about like her leadership style, which I know I talked on last season she was on. I just think it's really cool that she takes all that experience into consideration when she's dealing with other people, different personalities, etc.
Yeah.
And there's people that have challenges and you know, do things wrong, but she doesn't just like hit them and say like fix it. She like works alongside them to say, hey, I'm giving you another chance, but I'm also going to help you like walk through the problem at the same time. So I think she's awesome in that regard. And
it is funny how she gets a lot of guff for being a quote unquote micromanager. A lot of people say she's a micromanager, but yet
I know, but Captain Jason got the same thing.
Well, and Captain Sean, for the short time he was on, he was very hands-on too. I'm a fan of those captains. Those are the three captains I really enjoy watching. And I actually liked when we got to see Captain Glenn more, because I really like him too. We got to see him more in this most recent season, and he was more active with the crew and a little more hands-on. I don't know. That's a captain of a ship is a very interesting job. I want to see that job. I want to learn about that job as a viewer. And so, yeah, I don't know. I know she's.
Josh, do you remember doing the interview with Tyler Walker, who was on last season of Below Deck and worked with Captain Sandy? Yeah. And we asked him about the micromanaging and stuff. And he said, actually, the captain is responsible for so much on the boat. And if anything goes wrong, it's in their hands. So captains are usually on, you know, I guess maybe Captain Sean can answer this better. Some captains might take a back seat, but most captains might be a little more proactive into finding out what's going on in their boat.
Well, here's a fan of Captain Sandy. Mary, thank you so much for this. She put a super chat in and she said, wishing Captain
thank you, Mary.
Congrats on her engagement. Thank you for wishing her congratulations, and thank you for the tip. So Thank you all.
It's so crazy because I feel like that Captain Sandy and Leah, her partner, have been together for so long. Adam and I had the pleasure of meeting them at BravoCon last year.
Yeah,
they're
it is funny when
fantastic
they announced they
together.
were engaged. I was kind of like, it's one of those where I'm like, weren't they
Not already
Weren't they
married?
married? I thought they
Yeah,
were
weren't they?
married.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congrats. But yeah, you're right.
Hey, I think if you're getting those vibes, I think it might be a great
Relationship.
it might be a great relationship for sure. Guys, a lot of you are guessing that maybe our bosun coming in might be Malia from a previous season of Below Deck Med. I'm gonna say I don't think so. I don't know. Malia is on Winter House this season coming up, so we'll see if
been
she's any
busy.
more exciting on Winter House than she was on Below Deck Med for sure. All right, so we've kind of covered things that are happening here. What do we think though about Captain Sandy potentially not having a bosun for over 2 weeks? What does that mean? Does that mean Luca is going to stay, or will we get this magical appearance? What do you guys think is going to happen here?
Well, so the one gal, what is her name? I think I'm looking back through notes. I think it is Haley that was. No, not Haley. Brooke. It's a
Lara.
temporary. It's Brooke.
Oh, Brooke. Yeah.
She
on
said
the
that she's
interior,
usually
right?
a deckhand. So I think it could be something where they bring in, Kyle back into the picture, Toomey, etc., and they're like, "Oh, we have this extra person. Go help the deck for now." She could be temporary on deck too, at least to fill in a little bit.
But also,
I mean,
didn't
that
she
seems
kind
like
of
the
say she
shuffle.
missed deck? Like she wishes she was
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
deck.
Yeah.
So maybe I was thinking the same thing too, Greg, that maybe she'll transition, and maybe Luca just got the chance of a lifetime and will stay bosun.
I'm gonna have to say nothing for the looks though. I do think that Luca is TV gold. I think he's great on TV. He was great on Below Deck Down Under, and I think he's going to add a lot of stuff to this season. But I don't know if he's going to be the bosun. Is he going to be the bosun? Is this going to be the opportunity? Like,
That'd be cool.
He's
That'd be
been
cool
a
to
lead
see it
deckhand
happen.
before. He has a lot of experience. He comes highly recommended.
Well, and
So-
when he was brought on as lead deckhand under Joao, it felt like, oh, this guy could be bosun. Like that's how it felt on that season. And then we're seeing this time where he's like, oh my gosh, I've never actually been the one to take the helm, if you will, of the deck. And so I think this is where he's like, it's one of those like, oh wow, okay, I'm getting the actual responsibility. Woo, okay, I think I can do it. But it seemed like he was really primed and ready to. And you have to
primed
have
and ready, but also I loved his response to like fake it till you make it. Like,
yeah,
figure it out, find a solution. And I feel like there's no right way of doing it until you do it and you go through that skill set. And I feel like he is in a position where he's ready. I think it'd be really interesting to have him as the bosun and then have, like, let's say 3 girls as deckhands. Like, how cool. How fun.
I did reach out to Below Deck and offer to fake some papers if they needed someone.
That was good of you.
They didn't go for it.
What would your exact position be, Josh, on the boat?
Primary? I would go on as the lead primary for
the lead. Yeah, I would be the bosun primary or the chief primary.
There you go. Get the
Greg, what would you be?
Primary major, and you'd be primary minor.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Something
Lord
with the
have
down
mercy.
under. Down under would be in my title. I'd just be primed
So
and
you want to
ready.
be on
I
our
like
show?
that. I'd be. That'd just be my title. Primed and ready.
Hey, primed and ready as always. Listen, guys. I think we have a really strong cast. I think we have a strong crew. I think we have a great chef. I'm really. I don't know. I just want to see the dynamic between Sandy and Jack.
Does that galley look bigger to you?
Yes.
It feels like ginormous.
The whole boat feels ginormous.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, they were hanging
so
off the side. I don't know who it was, but she had like a helmet on and like climbing gear and was like going down the side of the boat. Never seen that
one of the
before.
bigger yachts we've seen on Below Deck for sure.
That's cool.
But I think we do have a strong setup. I'm really excited for next week because I feel like adding Kyle, like it's the same situation we had on Below Deck Sailing last season where Gary was still in quarantine and you had dynamics start to build through that first charter, and then Gary came back and we just saw the whole thing blow up like a shit show. So I think we're going to see the same thing with, you have these dynamics building, people are learning to work without one person. So you have the 2 teams of 3, which are supposed to be 2 teams of 4. And then now we're going to add the chief stew and the other stew who I don't think will accept 3rd stew title. So I think it will be an interesting dynamic to move it along for sure. Some shuffling for sure. Guys, I'm really excited tonight though, because there's a huge yachting boat show happening in Monaco right now. One which I had planned to be at this year and I'm not, but that sucks. But
luckily we have firsthand coverage.
We have firsthand coverage
in the field.
We have Captain Sean. And guys, I asked you earlier if you do have a question for Captain Sean, whether it's something that happened on the show, on Below Deck that you saw last night that you want an answer to, like, does this actually happen in yachting or is this just for TV? Put that in the chat and I will try to catch it. And so we can ask Captain Sean. And then we want to ask him about his experience so far in Monaco. So let's bring Captain Sean up. And if you haven't done so already, 235 in the room, hit that like button. It helps us out so much. It's our little tip. Anyway, let's welcome Sean. Hey, Captain Sean.
Cheers, Good evening, Captain. Live from Monaco. I am Captain Sean.
In the field.
In the field. Captain Sean, first of all, I think Captain Sandy's in Monaco for this boat show. I think a few big captains, I mean, a lot of captains. I mean, no one as grand as yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Everyone is in Monaco for the boat show. What is the significance of this show?
Well, the Monaco Boat Show, there's the big boat shows in the world are Monaco, Fort Lauderdale, and probably Palm Beach. Actually, I take that back. The 2 big European shows are Cannes, which was a couple of weeks prior to this, and then there's the Monaco show. And the Monaco show is when the really big boat manufacturers from all over the world they come here and to display their wares and talk about the new stuff that they have. There's also too you get some crossover with some helicopters manufacturers and submarine manufacturers. It's if you've got a cool yacht and like you've got a cool toy, it is here in Monaco this week.
Okay, so that's more of like a.
Have I seen Captain Crunch?
It's like a not a car lot, but like a fancy car. Like those are not necessarily for sale, but they are out there to be shown to be sold. It's not like private owners that are all hanging out together.
No. They're like there's yachts. Most of the yachts that you just saw in that photo and behind me are for sale, wow. or for charter. But yeah, that's primarily is you bring your yacht here to either showcase it because it's an awesome yacht, or you've got an old awesome yacht that you want to sell.
So this is like the world's fanciest used car show.
Yeah,
it is the world's fanciest used car show.
You know what's so crazy to me is
used and new.
I think I've been to now maybe 4 or 5 boat shows with you, and it's so interesting to see how big the industry actually is and how many huge mega yachts, super yachts there are in the world. Like it's astounding. I mean, even just looking at this one photo, I mean, how many can you count? Like right there, that's insane. But what is the craziest thing you've seen at one of these shows? Have you seen like a crazy sale or like
you were at the craziest one when we had that drag queen show.
Oh yeah. That was a very interesting.
There's like entertainment and like.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. You have no idea. So like you have like, you know, people who are, you know, there's an open bar, like there's parties everywhere at these boat shows, right? Too, because it's just it's the entertainment. It's that whole ambiance, I guess, that goes along with it. And you have people who are drinking like vodka at the same time they're having an IV stuck in their arm to get,
Don't talk about
hydrated.
Adam like that.
You have things going on you wouldn't see maybe at the circus, where we used to work, Josh, but like it's a whole different world. It feels like you're in a bubble. But Captain Sean, we do have a lot of questions for you tonight already. So I'm hoping that we can answer this. I'm going to take a few of the questions that I've seen so far and kind of put them into one. So on this first episode, we're on Below Deck Mediterranean, which is, I guess you would be in the Med currently. And we had a bosun come on board who didn't have his actual papers with him, his actual licenses, hands on.
You need to say that with a German accent.
I don't want to insult the Germans by doing a horrible German accent.
Yeah, Sean, how is this normal? Was this a pop, inspection, or do these inspections always happen?
Is that just normal?
So if you there's a thing called port state, or you have there's a difference between like port state control or like the port of Nice, because it's a commercial port, can send inspectors on board and make sure that everybody's got proper visas, and then they'll look at individual crew members to make sure that their paperwork matches their role on board the boat. So there's a thing called a safe manning certificate, and you've got to have X amount of crew, and then it'll break it down even further. You need one captain, one first officer. You need certain people with certain credentials before the boat can actually go do what the boat's supposed to do. And the question, I guess, is that this guy had paperwork saying that he was qualified to do a particular job on board the boat, and then it was brought into question that his paperwork was false or forged. Now, one of the things that I was doing a little reading about this, that he said he had photocopies of his certificates, and that technically is like a no-no. You're supposed to have the originals with them. But I know a lot of guys, like myself included, that you're like some obscure little course that you took 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You might not have the actual paperwork for that, but you're supposed to have a folder that does have that in there. And I can see why he wouldn't want to travel with them. But then they were saying how the photograph on one of his certificates didn't match the photograph. Then you're like, I don't know.
And Captain Sandy was like, she's like, so where did you get this? Where'd you go to school for this? Like, she said, you have to go to school for this particular one. And he goes, oh, I just learned on the boat. They had a course on the boat.
Well, he said also that he went to a school in Monaco.
And she's like,
for his yacht master, or I think it was for the yacht master. I'm not completely sure, but there was some, and she said there's not a school that offers that in Monaco. So, she just felt like she was catching him in fabrication after fabrication.
There was something that wasn't right about it. And if you've been doing this long enough, I'm sure there's stuff that we didn't see that she might have caught that. And she's like, you know what, get your paperwork together. Then if you're legit, feel free to come back. What's surprising, and I saw this question earlier in the chat, is that, the vetting process before they go on the show is pretty love
it, Brian.
Like stringent. Like I happen to know the guy that did the casting at least for the show that I was part of, and he's thorough. I mean, they're super thorough to make sure everybody's got their certificates and everything, and you give them a package because they don't meet a lot of the crew before you get on board the boat. So Sandy's like, all right, well, production's done their job, or everyone's done their job, and then to have this come up is so it there is some sketchy stuff. But to give you I brought this is my captain's license right here. The U.S. does a little bit differently, and it's a whole lot easier. Is basically there's, I don't know if you can see it, but there's these little numbers where it's like V1 and then ones and fours and stuff.
Yeah.
One of those numbers denotes a particular course that I've
Oh,
taken,
cool.
whether it be like advanced, and then there's another list of stuff that like that says like what I'm qualified to do.
Like big wheel, small wheel.
Exactly. Look, like the
So basically,
like
this was
radar observer. There's wiper on that. I can be a wiper.
That's the title I want. That's the title I want.
You want the title? You
want
want to
the
be a wiper?
You want to be the primary wiper or
You
the
want to be
chief
the primary wiper?
Chief.
wiper? Chief.
Chief wiper.
Although primary has a more of a, a
It has a more regal air
rich
to
ring.
it.
Yeah, it's a regal. That's exactly the word I was thinking.
Not. I just don't.
Where's
There's
my
like
primary
rear
wiper?
admirals. I
Get
don't
him
want
in
to be
there
a.
now immediately.
I don't want to be a rear admiral, rear wiper. That's the only one I.
Yeah,
don't
rear
wanna
wiper.
Yeah, that sounds weird.
I am
Yeah,
the rear
don't know if
admiral.
that would be
Where's
the
my
right-
wiper?
Power wiper.
I have a question from Ginger. This is kind of interesting because this is kind of a question. How is it decided what size boat the captain will be sailing? Who decided Captain Sandy would be taken off the last boat that she was on and put on a bigger boat? Who decides that?
Well, that is two factors. One is how much Below Deck is willing to shell out to charter a vessel, and two is how many people are willing to have their boat on Below Deck. There's still a little bit of a stigma attached to
in the community.
Attached to the show, like, oh, I don't want my show associated with that. The owner of my Sienna at the time was, and how I felt, it was complete. I'm like, get the boat out there. I mean, it was one of the best things as far as the sales tool went. Because I was the broker on my Sienna as well, is having that boat on Below Deck did nothing but help it. And people wanted to know more about it. I mean, that bit that you and I did, Jason, got I don't know how many views, and that actually helped the boat. So that's what determines how they get the boat is what their budget is, and then what people are willing to rent them within that budget.
Absolutely. And guys, we did a whole tour with Sean on Motor Yacht Starship that was Motor Yacht My Sienna that you see on Below Deck. I will link that below after this. It's on Up and Adam channel 2 in the behind the scenes. It's a great tour, and you might recognize some of the rooms. And
thanks to all of you who are watching live and who watch and replay, and especially thanks to all of you who hit that like button. That's our little that's
and
your way
comment.
to tip the crew. That's the way to tip your Yeah, and comment too. I love you when you guys comment. You guys add
The
so much.
engagements are great.
yeah, no, seriously, they really are. I'd love it. I love it.
So you had brought up like the owners. So you have these owners that are looking to rent ultimately their boat out, right? Or lease it out, whatever you call it. Are they doing that like 90% of the charter? Are they doing that 90% of the time with their boats, or are they like?
It depends on the boat. It depends on the boat, and that segues into kind of how things are done in Europe. In order to charter in Europe, there's all sorts of licenses and regulations, and France has some different regulations, and even though it's supposed to be all EU, it's not, and commercial versus a non-commercial yacht, and that's merely a designation. Like, it doesn't mean that it's a little more
size or
rough and tumble or whatever. Yeah, you can have a commercial rated yacht, and that just means that it meets certain standards, which allows it to carry passengers for hire. And subsequently, you have to have, which is why those certificates are so important, is that the people on board supposedly are at a higher standard. The crew on board that are at a higher standard than are on, say a private vessel of the same size.
They know life-saving techniques. They know different ways to help people, I'm sure.
Astronauts.
Yeah. Do you say they're astronauts?
Extra knots.
They can fly to space.
And go to space in the boat.
Yeah, they can do so many things. We have a couple interesting questions here.
Sure.
I want to bring up. Ginger asked, how often, or do you have to recertify? So like after you get this like yacht master certificate or this license, is there a time, or does that run out? When do you have to recertify? Like this?
Every 5 years.
Okay. Wow.
Dang.
But then in between those, Sean, that you've been to courses and you keep up on your other things. Like I think you did a fire safety course recently.
Oh yeah, there's tons of stuff. I have I'm very fortunate. I have the largest captain's license in the world. I have a master's unlimited in sail and power. So,
Dang.
and it's a U.S. Coast Guard, U.S. Merchant Marine commercial license. There is none. There's not a bigger one that I could possibly get. But in order to maintain that license, you have to maintain your radar. You got to maintain all sorts of stuff.
That's interesting.
So okay, with like plane pilots, they have like one plane that they would. That means that you can be on any vessel or boat of a certain range of size, and because of your license.
Yeah, correct. There's
okay.
pilots that have like, I mean, you get pilots that are flying like 747s that have been checked out on all sorts of different aircraft.
Right,
it's like this, basically what this license says is that have been checked out on a bunch of different stuff. But there's even like other stuff, like when I drive the high speeds during the summer, those boats are going so fast that you have to be checked out on each individual boat prior to being able to captain on those.
Wow.
You've mentioned before too that insurance companies they almost know who you are, or right? Like,
yeah, so that's pretty cool. It's like I'm real lucky. Is like I'm pre-approved with every major insurance company on the carrier in the world. So basically, I could get like any one of these boats here in the harbor right now. Like the captain could fall down the stairs and be like, "I'm hurt," and then they're like, "We need a captain now." And like, who do we call? And they would like call me or anybody. There would be two criteria. One, do they have the particular license? And two, is the insurance company going to be ready to sign off on them? So,
yeah.
Yes. All right. So last question tonight, Captain Sean, because I know it's, is it pretty early there for you or pretty late? Oh, it's pretty early. Trying to like realize what time it is over there. It's early for you over there.
Oh yeah, it's
like the sun's about to come up. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
morning.
It's the first day of the Monaco Boat Show.
And, it's the official first day, right? It's Wednesday.
This is the kickoff.
This is it.
We have Captain Sean kicking off the boat show.
The Monaco, one of the best yacht shows, the best yacht show in the world. Amanda has a question. She said, "Can you explain why there's a stigma for an owner to not want their boat on below deck?"
Yeah.
And can we explain the stigma of like some of the crew and just in the industry in general?
Yeah. So I used to joke, like below deck is where crew go to destroy their careers and captains go to die. And then I wound up doing the show. And anyway, and there's a big stigma of like all the crew does nothing but party and that the guests are all awful. And so there's the kind of a stigma. Now that stigma has greatly changed. One of the reasons that I did the show is because I saw the perception of the show changing, that actually there are a lot of positive aspects to the industry and what we do that are showcased on the show. And this segues back into being like kind of accused of being a micromanager, and Sandy being accused of a micromanager adjacent. And one thing I want to just reiterate is that what you're witnessing when you watch us work on screen is not us micromanaging other people's projects, but us managing projects that we had assigned ourselves. And that's an important distinction. There's 1,000 other things that are going on board that boat that we have nothing to do with, that we hand off. But if we're going to be involved in a project, then we've taken ownership, and that's when you're going to see us manage a project.
Which, I mean, you have to do. You have to pay attention to
responsibility, right?
You're responsible for everything that happens on that yacht. I do want to give a huge shout out to, if you guys are very interested on to follow it, like a Chief Stew on board a yacht. I met a great stew in New York. Her name is Lenka. She was on the motor yacht Asteria, and she is on Instagram called Lenka on Board. She is a big fan of Up and Atom, which I thought was so funny when we were on that yacht, Sean. So go follow her on Instagram. It's Lenka on Board.
Oh, Lenka's great. Yeah.
LENKA on Board. Great Instagram. And she's fun. She always sends great messages and supports Anchor Watch and Up and Atom. So we appreciate her.
Ah, that's nice. Yeah, she'll be over the moon.
Yeah, she's great. God, I wish I was in Monaco with you. I think we all wish we were in Monaco with you. Sean, thank you so much for being here tonight or this morning to give us a glimpse on, what's kind of coming up at the Monaco Yacht Show, which looks so impressive. Just this right here. This is your footage, by the way.
So yeah, this is the show all getting set up. I'll be taking footage of the show throughout the show. Tomorrow I've got to break off early because I am taking the owner of Latitude is meeting me here at the show. He's a great guy. Anil Thadani owns Motor Latitude. He's also a judge for Boat International. And we got to take his Ferrari to go get an inspection sticker in Cannes. So we're going to ride on that.
For you have to ride in a Ferrari to Cannes.
Yeah,
I do. It's going to be brutal. I'm
God,
going to get lunch too. So anyway, but someone's going to do it. And that statement makes him sound like kind of like, hey, we're taking his Ferrari. Anil is responsible for movies like The Highest Latitude. He's paid for and that's the other thing, real quick, and I'll let you guys go, is like some of these owners get a bad rep of being like Scrooge McDuck or whatever, but there's a lot of guys that have earned the money that they've made and then have helped thousands of people along the way. Anil Thadani is one of them. There are more kids in India and across the world that have gone to school because of him that he will never admit to. More foundations, more money that he has donated to all sorts of great causes around the world. And he is truly an exceptional individual. And I'm very happy to be able to hang out with him tomorrow.
That's awesome.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
send
that's
us a picture
where you did the Highest Latitude, where you did the Northwest Passage on that private vessel. That's an incredible story. Sean, every week I tell you this, we're so thankful and grateful to have you here to give us your knowledge and to jump on with us at all hours of the morning and the night, no matter where you are in the world, whether it's I don't know, Amsterdam or Monaco or Los Angeles, or
it might be from Thailand in a few months, so you never know.
Well, send me a ticket, I'll join you.
Yeah, always. You guys all have an open ticket.
Well, we appreciate it. Sean, thank you so much. Have a good night and enjoy the show. And please, guys, if you want to follow Captain Sean's journeys in Monaco and beyond, because he posts a lot of stuff. And Sean, I reiterate this to you a lot, but there is not enough content you can post, especially being at these shows. And I love everything that you have posted so far, giving us that morning tour and just kind of like what your afternoon is like. Anything you can post, we will be following. Instagram, Excitement Factory is Captain Sean. It is linked below, and if it is not, I will add that link right after we finish here.
And you got to follow, because some of it only lives in the stories. So
absolutely,
you get 24 hours to see it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Come see my opinions on Sparkle.
See, now I got to open it up right now.
Yacht?
Watch that one.
They're bringing the Sparkle back. I was walking by a boat and it had that Sparkle 70s Sparkle paint job. I'm like, no way.
That's what we're
bringing
talking
the
about.
Sparkle back.
I'm glad. I like the Sparkle.
I like the Sparkle.
We know.
Jason lives in the Sparkle.
I live in the Sparkle. It's always
never went
sparkling over
away.
here. No, it never went.
I think that should be our next merch shirt.
All I've ever known.
Bring the Sparkle back.
Bring the Sparkle back.
Sparkle.
I'm making one for myself just to wear at BravoCon. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Captain Sean, thank you so much. Have a great night. Have a great day on the first day of the boat show, and thank you for kicking us off, or kicking the boat show off with us
officially.
I will see you in Instagram land, and send your questions.
Send your questions. Have a good night, Sean.
Good to see you,
guys. That's so cool.
Every time, every minute, I have 20 questions, and I'm like,
it's so funny because I always tell Sean, I'm like, I don't know, what kind of questions we're gonna get, or what is gonna be more interesting than what you told us last week. And every week, or every other week, or ever when Sean's here, we have so many more answers to these questions we never thought we were watching the show. And we
like
don't know these situations happen.
I like that people come to the chat and to the questions like ready to go. Like they know that they can ask those questions now.
Yes.
So it's awesome.
No, that's
So thank you
seriously
for contributing
awesome.
those.
And guys, Replay Crew 2, hit that like button. It helps us out a lot, guys. And if you haven't done so already tonight in the live chat, hit that like button. It's all about the tip here. Thank you, Worth Avenue Yachts. We love you. Also, great YouTube channel. Hit that link below too in the description. But yeah, I'm just lost right now.
We're
getting started. We are getting started.
We need to see who's going to be doing what job. We need to see everyone, and we need some time to get to know this crew now. Can please nobody leave? Nobody weird stuff happen. Can we just see the crew for a little bit and get to know them? That's what I'm looking for next week. And Bravo, if you want to release one episode a week, I'm okay with that. I know some people
I think Med is going to carry on till BravoCon. So I think we're going to see a one episode a week, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Okay. One episode a week. I think they did the 2 episodes of Below Deck Down Under and Sailing to get us through like a slower season, and there were a lot of things going on. I hope they don't do 2 episodes a week, but remember, they have a lot of footage of Below Deck. They filmed these so far in advance. Maybe they want to try to catch up a little bit, because things like this are being ruined, where like it's a year out from Below Deck Med season 9. We know our Chiefs do. We see the crew.
Some jerk showing the pictures on his YouTube show.
I mean, hey, these are not my pictures. These are not my pictures. They were sent to us from someone who is also chartering. In
Jason
Greece.
is not just some jerk. Okay.
No, I'm just a jerk.
He's the jerk.
I'm the jerk. No one can be
Sparkle jerk.
Okay.
You ever had a sparkle jerk? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you went to college, right?
God bless America. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for Anchor Watch, Greg. Always a pleasure. We hope to have you back. If you want to, we would love to recap Med with you. So I hope anytime you want to.
I'm down if the fans will have me. Well, I'll have to see what the feedback in the after show is on the comments. We'll
absolutely. And if you're,
I will be the loudest voice of "Go Away."
I know.
And if you are part of the replay,
a lot this week.
You somehow get a YouTube restraining order.
You have to stay within so many comments away from my comment.
It's weird. That's so weird. Guys, if you are part of the replay crew, leave your comments below. Let us know what you think about this season coming up. We love going in and responding. I think we all do. I know Sean goes in and answers some questions. So if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below. We respond. Thank you to all the subscribers and making this such a great community and such a clean, respectful chat. That's also really nice. And
all of our
mods, thanks for being here. Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
To all of our sparkle jerks, thank you.
I am the only sparkle jerk you will see tonight. Okay, I am the only one. Don't give that title out to everyone. God bless. All right, guys, have a great night, and we'll see you again next week for episode 2. Bye, everyone.
Cheers.